Hello, hello, hello. Are we in the chat? Can we hear each other? Let me know. Let me know if you all can hear us in the chat, and I will let you know if we are live. We should be live on YouTube. Thank you for joining us today. This is Tech Talk with John McLaughlin. Hey, I'm John McLaughlin. If you guys don't know, I am the host of Tech Talk here at JAmemories. Want to welcome you to the show. It's been an exciting couple days. We've been testing a bunch of stuff out and just having a great time getting prepped for the show, getting everything wired up, set up, and we've been doing a bunch of other just random sets and random things that you really Jeff, thanks for being on the channel. This is the same mic I had last week, so you guys just didn't see it, and Jeff was telling me that he couldn't hear, so I decided, hey, why not we just put the mic up to my mouth, you all can hear me better. And, my studio is not the best studio out there. So I am in my garage. I've got a lot of stuff going on. And this is one of those things about the fact that you've got fans, you've got noise. And that's something that you will have to deal with when you get a studio of your own, is the fact that you just have to deal with all that stuff, and we'll discuss that. I've actually got plans to do a special show where it's based on previous stuff. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Do you? I have no idea what I'm talking about. Sometimes I don't. That's just life. That's just life. So, what is today's topic? What are we talking about? What are we getting ourselves into? Did we get ourselves in trouble today? And the answer is, of course, we got ourselves in trouble. We always get ourselves in trouble. And that's just one of those joys of having the opportunity to have a studio. So this week, in preparation for today's stream, I was changing up my setup. I was running through some stuff and having the entire setup here changed tremendously. I started streaming on Twitch. this week. Got a plane overhead. So you might hear that going as well. So I decided it was time to start streaming. In preparation for today's stream, I decided, hey, I need to try a couple setups. I need to try a couple layouts, and I got to try out a couple setups that change how I stream, and what software, what hardware, what integration I do, and so for the last 4 or 5 nights, I've been live on Twitch, and I've been playing some Fortnite, doing some 2 to 3 hour streams there, having a great time, enjoying myself, and at the same time, getting myself extremely, extremely tired. So if I seem like just a little avid, that's why, but at the same time, we're having fun, we're here, we're live, and we're ready to rock and roll. So, today's topic. Last week we did a show, and it was a great show, and it was one of those shows that I really enjoyed the content. I really enjoyed the message, and it just was one of those things that we really had a great time last week. We discussed the, if I can pull it up, Alright, I'm trying to do multiple things at once, and there we go. We discussed the Atem Minis. If you remember from last week, we discussed the Atem Minis, the Atem Mini ISOs, the Extremes, and then we also discussed the SDI models. So I am partial to the Atem Minis. I love the Atem Minis. Hey, look at that. There's Jeff's comment. First comment on the stream. How exciting is that? So, one of the things that I enjoy doing is I like to talk about the things that I like. Well, streaming has changed the entire infrastructure of the internet. Basically changed the face of the internet. Prior to the pandemic, streaming was left to the businesses, corporations, large organizations. A few people were going live on their phones and stuff like that. Fast forward to 2020 when everybody started going live because they had to. They had to create content to for their classes. They had to go online and prepare, get audience engagement some other way. So what they did is they got the idea, hey, let's start streaming on Facebook and YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. And we accelerated our entire online experience. Streaming is one of those things that anyone with a cell phone can go live straight from their phone without any setup, without any gizmos. If you have a data plan on your phone and a Facebook account or YouTube account, actually no, you can't go live on YouTube from your phone, but you can go online with Instagram, with you can go live on TikTok from your phone. Of course, Facebook that we talked about. So the whole entire face of live streaming changed. But people were like, okay, the live experience is good with the phone alone, but how can we make it better? Businesses wanted to incorporate their brand. People wanted to up the game when it came to their content. They wanted to change the way that they interacted with people, the way that they shared their content. Well, introduced software and hardware that will allow not only one camera, but multiple cameras. Sharing computer screens, sharing media content. And that's what we're going to discuss tonight, is the difference between a hardware encoder and a software encoder. Now, I will preface everything I'm going to say right now by saying this stream, just like all my other streams, are not sponsored by any of the companies I'm going to be talking about today. No one's paying me to give praise to one over the other. They have no influence over what I say. And everything that I say tonight is based on my personal experience with the software, hardware that we are going to discuss. So you're sitting there going, okay, so what are we going to be discussing? Just like the title says, the Atem, specifically the Atem Mini line, and the OBS software. Now you're sitting there going, okay, great. What is an Atem? What is an Atem? Well, you saw it before. You saw the Atem on the screen. If I can take it, I need to minimize that. There it goes. That's an Atem. That's specifically the Atem Mini, but there's 5 or 6 different models of the Atem Mini. So you have the Atem. That is your hardware encoder. The nice thing about the Atem Mini is it's not just one input. Now, there is a multitude of other hardware encoders. You have YOLO Live. You have Data Video has encoders. There you can find a lot of different companies have some version of an encoder. Some have one input, others have multiple inputs. And for a broadcast house, having one encoder is fine, because you take your switch and put it into the encoder. For a home studio, having multiple inputs allows you to have multiple sources all funneling into the streamer and then going that route. Great, so that's what an Atem is, and that's what a hardware encoder is. Well, what's OBS? OBS is just one of several software-based encoders. It takes an input from your computer. You can use an Elgato stream capture device. You can use you can even use an Atem as your input source. You can use any webcam as a capture device. And it is a software version of it's a software-based encoder. So I'm going to bring up OBS because, understanding what an OBS is and what OBS really can do, it's kind of hard to say and do without really seeing it played out. So OBS is I'm going to shift over a little bit because this is OBS. OBS stands for, first off, OBS stands for Open Broadcaster Studio. Basically gives you a option of having multiple sources in the software that you can take and stream from. Everything is tied to this. You create a scene over here. So you create a scene. Come over here to the sources and you create a source. And here's the list of sources. Application audio capture, audio input, output capture. You can do a browser. You can do a color source. Display capture. So if you have another source off to the side, you can capture that. So you can make sure that. You can capture your game if you play a game on the computer. You capture an image straight from your files. My camera is having a hard time focusing tonight. I don't know why. I need to take off autofocus. Bear with me a second, guys. I want to see if I can take autofocus off. I guess not, because my menu pops up on my HDMI. It's one reason why I want a different camera. But that's another day's story. Back to OBS. You have media source. Media source is basically any video, audio source, or anything like that. You can do that. You can even take multiple scenes and input it into, so you build a scene, add it to another scene, and build upon itself. It gets very, very complicated. What else do we have in there? We have text. We have video capture device. That would be your webcams, your Atem Minis, your Elgato capture device, and you add it into and you build upon your source. And here's what the source is right there. And I don't have anything here because I don't have anything plugged into this computer that I'm showing you. Then what you can do is you can set up your streaming right here. You can set up your record to go to a local copy. And it allows you to stream to multiple sources. That's what makes OBS so good, is the fact that you can stream straight from OBS to multiple sources. You can hook up your Twitch, you can hook up your YouTube, you can hook up your Facebook, if you have a TikTok. If Instagram had an API, you would be able to do it there too. You can even stream to other RMPT streams and record to any source you want to, which makes it that much better. Now, so that's OBS. So now we have the differences between OBS and the Atem. I know it's very basic, very rough understanding, because in the end of the day, I can spend the whole day sitting here and it's like, okay, and I can spend the whole day going over OBS settings. The nice thing about OBS and being a software-based program is OBS is an open source platform. For those that don't know what that means, OBS stands for, open source means that it's one, free, so there is no cost for OBS, and two, it's other people are collaborating with the software to make it better, to improve it, to make plugins for it. And that's where OBS really shines, because there are companies specifically designed who have done nothing more than just make layouts, make templates, plugins, dashboards that play nice with OBS. So why wouldn't everybody want to stream just from OBS? Why spend money on an Atem? Why spend money on any other encoder? Well, starting off, the Atem Mini, which runs, the retail price is about $225. Okay, so you start out with $225. No, sorry, $295. $295 for a switcher. You have a OBS. Everything runs into the Atem. The Atem runs into the switcher or into your computer through USB-C, and then you're off running. And then you start adding on plugins and start adding add-ons, and you start doing your bugs on OBS, and you can get quite a complicated layout. And I follow streamers who swear up and down that OBS is the best way to go. Let me stop right there and apologize right away that my camera does not want to lock on my face. Either I don't have enough light on my face, or the camera is it does not want to lock tonight, and I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do at this time, because if I do, it will stop. It'll put the menu up on the screen, and I don't want to do that. So, yeah. So, OBS, one of the things that you figure out early is that OBS, being open source, is free to download. You can go to the website, and you can get it for Windows, Mac, Linux. It's free and open source, and you can do almost anything. It works with YouTube, Logitech, Twitch, Facebook. It's got stream elements, which is a great. You get even free templates with stream elements, and it's just one of those things that makes your streams that much better. And based on what I'm saying, you might think, well, you might think that my choice of streaming is OBS. And in all honesty, you'd be wrong. You see, OBS, in all its good stuff and all the pluses and negatives of it, there's a big problem that I have. The big problem is that OBS relies on the hardware that you're using. So, unless you have a very good graphics card, you have a lot of processing speed, and you have very strong internet, OBS is not going to be very good when you start recording all your sources, you start pushing out to multiple streams. Now you might be sitting there going, well, I've only got one camera, and I have got a webcam, and it's not that strong. Well, here's the thing. And I think Jeff hit the nail on the head. I think a combination of using OBS with Atem is the best deal. Also have to have a powerful computer to run OBS. That is true to an extent. You can't have a small, simple, Chromebook that I don't even think it runs on Chromebook, but you can't have a basic, just a simple little 1 gig RAM, simple little computer. No, it won't run. But you don't have to have $1,000 computer, or even anything like that. You can run it on a simple, smaller computer. I have a simple laptop that I'm running it on, and in fact, it is running right now. You saw it at the beginning of the show. You saw it is what was pushing my countdown clock and the background. It is what runs. Let me see if I can get it. Right here. The side right here, that's running off OBS. That's called coming from OBS. OBS is running it, and it runs fine for me. Now, this, like I said, everything that I'm talking about, I did myself. I made sure that I practiced, I went through, and I wanted to see what would happen to my stream if I ran strictly off OBS. So what I did this week was I took my Twitch, I set up my game, everything was running, the game was running through my Blackmagic Atem. My camera runs through my Blackmagic Atem, and the audio runs through my Atem. I then put my Atem through USB-C into my computer and had that as the capture source. Then built the logos and the bugs in OBS, used a frame background. I downloaded a pack off. Wow, hold on. I think we lost something. Yes, we did. We lost the other computer. And my record went dead. See you. Okay, well, I guess we'll just go live. And hopefully we won't have any problems with other stuff. So anyway, so we are still live. If you can hear me still, let me know that we're still live. And this happens once in a while. I don't know if it's a power glitch or what, but I'm seeing OBS crashed in the background. Which is a perfect example of why I honestly think OBS is not the solution for me. Now, I will use OBS. I will use it for playback. I'll use it for lower thirds. I'll use it for graphic overlays, templates, things like that. But as you can see, my OBS just crashed on my primary computer. Thank you, Jeff. I see that I am still live. So Jeff is asking, you know what? Let me do this. You guys want to see those comments? Can't Atems do some similar graphics, just not as many templates? Well, that's true. Yes, you can. The Atem, and that's what the nice thing about having OBS with the Atem is you can build upon yourself. You can sit there and build up a graphic overlay and take in your super sources and your other things, and then you have OBS over here, and all it's doing is playing out stuff. Now, my computer crashed, which brought OBS down. Now, I tend to run OBS a lot during the day practicing, and at the end of the day, it comes down to, can the computer that's running OBS, does it crash. And if I step up here and look, the laptop is shut down. Now, I didn't do anything. I didn't go over there and do anything. But to answer your question, can Atem do some similar graphics? Yes and no. See, OBS can play back animated graphics. Atem's can't. So if you use a animated graphic, like right now I'm taking the graphic, my tech right here, I'm taking that off the Atem. On my other show, the Saturday night show, which by the way is getting a new branding this weekend, so hang out for that. That has an animated graphic. That has to come from OBS. If OBS crashes like it did, my bug in my lower thirds go away because it's coming off of OBS. So, yes and no. You can use a different source for that. It's just because of OBS and all the features, you have the opportunity to create multiple scenes and then do just a different group of layouts that then you can lay in as one source onto the Atem. Now, I honestly think the best option is using a hardware encoder, simply because I've had it numerous times, both on this show, on my Saturday show, where my computer decides it's going to crash. But because I'm not tied to the computer, I'm not using the computer to actually stream. I'm just using it as a couple layers on top of my stream. I stay live. So that's why that is that case. Alright, yes, YouTube does save the stream, but you know, when I record, I like to save the video at a higher bitrate than what YouTube does. That's why I thought can only do stills. Anything moving has to be through something else. Yes, that's exactly right. So at the end of the day, it comes down to is a verse. Depends on what you're doing. If you've got a powerful computer, has a great graphics card, you have a capture device that can do a decent job, do some of the heavy lifting, then yes, a OBS solution would be your best option. For me, with what I do and how I like to do multiple things, no, I like having a physical switcher that I can control, because I do control the switcher. The switcher's sitting back here. The switcher's in this case right back here. It's not in front of me. I can't physically touch the switcher. But here's the kicker. I can control the Atem through software. So I'm able to physically have the switcher off to the side, have whether it be the computer or a different computer or something, and I can control that. Now, I could set the Atem right in front of me and physically switch it, but believe it or not, the software has more options than the hardware. So the hardware is doing the heavy lifting. The software, which is a light software that runs on any PC, can run on Mac as well. That does just like an API type of thing. It's just controls. So that's where you are getting the benefit of both hardware and software in the same box. Jeff's asking, then why aren't you using the Atem to record? I am, Jeff. I have a hard drive hooked up to my Atem, but I've also got a multi-view that I'm looking at right now, and my record is flashing at me, which means it's not recording. So whatever that power hit or power glitch was, then all of a sudden the record stopped working. I don't know if it was a coincidence or if it was just something actually happened that caused it to crash. So, what else are we going to talk about tonight? Because at the end of the day, yes, you can record on the Atem. You can stream from the Atem. Depending on which model you have anywhere from 4 to 8 inputs. And now they came out with the SDI model for those who use SDI equipment. Now, the caveat to the SDI, which I've heard a lot of people complain about, was they went all SDI. So you're now stuck with all SDI inputs and all SDI outputs. And for a home studio, that's not the easiest thing to come by, because SDI monitors just by themselves are not cheap. Even if you take a modular monitor and put an SDI card in it, then and then, at that point it's it's so. Where am I going with this? It comes back to you're once again limited on what you can do. And I don't know why Blackmagic thought that was a good idea. I've talked to a couple of streamers, and they don't like that model any more than just straight HDMI model. Now, I'm sure the broadcast world will love it. They love that idea. They love the idea of being able, because everything is SDI. I'm actually looking at getting one for our office at the ministry simply because we are a complete SDI house. So, yes. So we've got comments here. Hogwild Ham says, I have to help you with some battery backups. That would help. But since it's a laptop, I can't guarantee that it was a power glitch because the laptop's been flaky overall. But battery backups are definitely a must in any studio that you build, simply because if you have a power outage, having battery backups is crucial. And having more than just one. Because if you don't have more than one, then you're still limiting yourself to one source of failure. Now, if you can get equipment that have a redundant power supply, and then split that out into 2 different battery backups, if one fails, you have a secondary power supply as well. When you get into the broadcast world, professional broadcast world, there's a number of solutions and things that you do, and you have in your mindset that you're going to set up because you don't want anything happening. Now, I do have a redundant system in place. I can stream. If my stream fails from one Atem, I could roll over to the second Atem. Now, because on Thursday night show, I'm just streaming to YouTube. Now, OBS, again, you can have that running on as many computers as you want simply because it's free. But you have to remember, you have to have a capture device on both computers. And in all honesty, both Facebook and YouTube don't do really good jobs of having redundant streams available. I did see it available at one point, but because I don't do that, I never pay attention to it. I need to go back into the YouTube settings and see if they actually have a redundant battery backup. Because if they do, then not battery backup. I just read that comment again. I apologize. If they have a redundant backup stream that you can push from, so you have one encoder streaming to one stream and then the failover on the other. That would be to guarantee. But again, it won't matter if you don't have those battery backups to make sure that your system stays up if you do have a power glitch. Now, if you're going to do a studio on battery backup, you have to realize, okay, well, that means I gotta have my lights on. That means I have to have my monitors on battery backup. I have to have my microphone sources on battery backup, my audio gear, my switchers, my computers. Oh my. All of a sudden now I've got, instead of just one battery backup, I'm up to like 3 or 4. Because you have to realize that there is a difference between, in a normal office space, you would back up the tower and any hard drives. Because obviously you don't want the hard drives to crash in between the records as well, or during your production. So in a production environment, it's best to do what's known as a whole home or whole studio backup generator. You've got big enough batteries to last you about a minute to 5 minutes while the generator spins up. It gets very expensive. So, yes, it is one of those crucial things. Battery backups are important and stuff. I don't know, we've diverted away from Atems or OBS, but Jeff's got another question here. I can't click it on there. Clicking on the wrong. Does OBS let you stream to multiple places at the same time? Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, etc., etc. I actually read that and going, isn't that a lighting company? But it means etc., etc., etc. Yes, you can actually stream to multiple places at once, but you have to have the computer hardware and the speed to that computer in order to handle streaming. Now, Twitch, it won't let you stream more than, I think it wants about 2 to 4 megabits per second. Actually, no, I think it needs more like 2 to 3 megabits per second. You're not pushing that much. YouTube, you can get up to about 7, 8 megabits per second. YouTube and I think Facebook is about the same. So you're looking at about 15 to 20 megabits per second out of that computer. You obviously have to have the capacity. You have to have the strength to push it out of that one computer, doing all the lagging. And then at the same time, if you're recording your stream, you have to consider what format are you recording at. Are you recording at MXF? If you are, that's a very heavy loaded capture at the same time as trying to push out an MP4 file format. So you have to weigh your capacity and what you're able to do, because at the end of the day, your computer is your failsafe, and it's your weakest link. And then you have to consider, what sources are you bringing in? Are you bringing in multiple large 4K files? Are you bringing into OBS a heavy loaded audio file? Are you doing fast transitions? That all weighs on the hardware. The hardware, which is the computer. So you have to consider all of those things when you go live. Perfect example. On Monday night, I streamed, just like I'm doing right here, to Twitch. So I streamed the gameplay, everything. Twitch was being pushed out from my Atem. In fact, my Atem, I had a streaming high, which is about 7 megabits per second. And I kept getting a warning from Twitch going, hey, too much, you gotta lower your bandwidth. I ended up lowering it down to streaming low, which I don't like doing. And it said, excellent. In fact, I'm not even sure what I'm streaming at right now. I'm not looking at the right streamer. Let me see. Connect. So I'm connecting to the switch, the Atem that's actually pushing it out, and I am streaming at, because the other encoder is what I used for Twitch. I am streaming at streaming high tonight, which is roughly 7 to 9 megabits per second. If I look at my software, it says I have excellent connection. Does not tell me what. Oh, multi-viewer. Hold on. I can find it out. I'm pushing roughly 9 megabits per second out of my encoder. So yes, that's what I'm pushing out right now. The other thing that, so what was the question? So if you push out 9 megabits per second to Facebook and YouTube, that's 18 megabits right there. And then you have 2 or 4 to Twitch, which technically you're not supposed to stream to Twitch and Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Twitch doesn't like that. But you're not really, if you're not affiliate or a partner, they really can't say too much, but they don't like doing that. So, but there's not really much they can do if you're not being paid by them. They may kick you off, though, and you don't want that. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it all comes down to what you have. So, yeah, the answer, long answer, or short answer to a long question was, yes, you can stream to multiple sources. But you have to have the bandwidth out of your home, on your internet, to be able to stream that. And I say, okay, so you need 20 megabits. Well, he says, well, I have 20 megabits. I can push it up. That's not the case. You have to consider that if you want to push out 20 megabits per second, you've got to have at least 30 to 35. You've got to have headroom above that, whatever you are pushing. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. So where was it? Yeah, so yeah, it all comes down to what you have. And you have to consider, so you have 30 megabits on your upload. People don't realize this is usually when you get internet from an internet provider, you have your download speed typically is higher than your upload speed. And you need to make sure that when you're talking to your internet providers that, yes, this is what I'm getting at. This is the speed I want. And if you can't get those, then obviously you're not going to push to multiple sources. Now, there are other options out there. There's a lot of other options out there. The other options are you could stream to places like Restream or Caster and push one stream out to them and then set up your accounts to stream from there to multiple accounts, like YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. And some of them may even be able to do Instagram at that point. I don't know. But the point is, then you're not required to have as much bandwidth at home in your studio. Now, there are other encoders and softwares out there. Elgato is more of an interface to the computer, but you have Epiphan has their Pearl line. You know, they got the Pearl 2, they've got the Pearl Mini, they got the Pearl Nano. They're all encoders. You know, they all can do 1 or 2 or 3 streams at the same time. You have people that use NDI, SRT, and other protocols to push videos over the internet. So the gamut of options that we have in the broadcast world, like I said when we first started, the whole live stream face has grown tremendously. The options have expounded. And that doesn't even include those who are still using their phone. Because the phone makes things so much easier. Sorry, my family's been trying to get hold of me. I'm gonna wrap this up because they're trying to get my attention. So, last question that Jeff asked. Facebook only lets it's actually 720 streams, not 780, but I'll let it go. YouTube is 1080. That's another problem. Lots of different settings. And that is true. One of the things when you first start getting into the world of live streaming is understanding the ins and outs of what you're streaming. Where do you want to go? When you sit down and say, I want to stream, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Facebook? Do you want to go to YouTube? Do you want to go to Twitch? Do you want to go to TikTok? Do you want to go to Instagram? They all have their formats. Instagram is 16 by 9. It's vertical. Everybody else is horizontal. I said that wrong. Yeah, Instagram is 9 by 16. So, you can't just push. Now, you can give them a 16 by 9 image, and you're going to be cropped up in the top corner of the screen. But that's just Instagram. That's why the phone is the best way. Now, Instagram also does not have an open API, which means you can't just grab a computer, set up OBS or even the Atems, and stream straight to it. Now, there is a program out there that says they can stream to Instagram, but there are still a lot of questions about whether it's, one, legal with Instagram, and two, if it's stable enough. I don't know. So at the end of the day, yes, there is a lot of settings that you have to deal with. There's a lot of things that we have to deal with as a streamer, and we have to keep that in mind. They all have their yeses, their nos, and everything like that. So at the end of the day, you as a streamer have to make the best choice for you, because streaming is not cheap. It's not something to take lightly, and it's not something that you can just, if you want to go beyond the phone. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with streamers who stream just from their phone. There are thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions of people who just use their phone for every single thing that they do online. Whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Telegram, or whatever other social media platform you do. They do Zoom calls on their phone. They do go-to meetings on their phone. They attend webinars. They attend full concerts from their phone. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to go beyond that, if you're going to go beyond that entire field, then yes, it's time to invest money into what you're doing. Whether you spend the money on a powerful computer. I was listening to a podcast, a fellow YouTube streamer who has 2.6, I think he just surpassed 2.6 million subscribers. And he just spent $13,000 on his computer. Now, he's one that uses OBS and all the plugins for OBS to stream his setup. That's his choice. I watch another streamer who has 4 different channels on YouTube. He has multiple thousands of viewers on each of his channels. And he, again, uses OBS. Then I've got 2 other viewers, 2 other people I watch, one on Sunday and one that comes on very irregularly. They both use Atems. The world is your oyster. You pick what you want and you make it work for you. Personally, I like having the Atems as hardware, encoders, switchers, recorders, and the like. So I'm not limited by a computer that may crash just like it did tonight. Your choice. You get to choose. Because at the end of the day, it's your stream. Figure out what you want to do, how you want to do it, and get it done. Don't let little things stop you from going live. If you have a vision, if you have a desire to go live, if you have content you want out there, if you want to push something out there that no one else is doing, or even if everyone else is doing it, and you want to jump on, all I can say is do it. Figure out where you want to go, and just have fun with it. Just like tonight, when my camera is just focusing on and off, been driving me crazy all night. I have a monitor right here showing me what's going on, and if you're watching, your eyes are probably bugging out as well, and I apologize. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to figure out what's going on before Saturday's show. And it may simply be I need to get a better camera, which means I gotta spend more money. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what do you want, how you want to do it. So, thanks for hanging out with us today. Hopefully something that I said hit a nerve with everybody. Not in a bad way. I shouldn't say it that way. Hit a chord. There you go. That sounds so much better. Something I said hopefully hit a chord with you guys, and you got something out of it. And thanks for all the chat comments and all the questions. And we'll be back next week. We will do this again. I don't know what next week's topic's going to be, but one of these days we will do a studio setup. I've got some camera stands coming next week that will help me set up another camera or two so I can get a second shot and show you guys the studio and do a walkthrough, and if I can this week, I'll draw up a wire diagram so I can show you guys kind of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and stuff like that. And then maybe we'll talk about what software I use for integrations and wire diagrams. I actually used this software when I built the studio for Richard Roberts Ministries back several years ago. So, you know, I've got a lot of talent, and I enjoy what I do. So, thanks for hanging out with us today. Jared says, good stream. So, thanks for hanging out with us, Jared. And if you would, guys, go ahead and like the stream. And also, if this is your first time and you like what you see on the channel, go ahead and subscribe. We go live every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Central. And then we are also live on Saturday nights on YouTube and Facebook with our Saturday show. So thanks everybody for hanging out, and we will catch you later on the next show, which will be next week. Have a blessed week. And unfortunately, I can't close my show because my computer that runs Companion is also shut down. So, how are we going to do this? Alright, we'll go the old-fashioned way. Bear with me. So, you gotta bear with me because I'm loading up stuff real quick, and I will shut stuff down. Alright, turn that off. Go there.
you.